Hi everyone, I'm Kirtada, and we're at the Earthy Cookhouse, where we bring to you the world's most versatile and innovative plant-based recipes. We're here to show you how a tad bit of out-of-the-box thinking and the right ingredients can make plant-based cooking so simple and so satisfying. French toast is an indulgent breakfast option for those with a sweet tooth and a lovely dessert treat for those in team savory like me. This recipe possibly came up to give a new lease of life to stale bread. The French call this preparation pain perdu, literally lost bread, since the recipe can magically refresh stale bread that would have otherwise been lost, as in tossed into the bin. Classically, French toast is made by dunking stale slices of bread. It's important that the bread be stale. We'll get to why later. So, stale bread dunked in an eggy custardy mix. But today, we're here to break some culinary rules. We're skipping the eggs and the milk and using instead Sofit Soya Vanilla flavoured drink and some not-so-secret ingredients that will soon be revealed to you. So to make the vegan French toast with caramelized pears, we'll need Sofit Soya Vanilla drink. To make the caramelized pears specifically, we'll need pears, obviously, some brown sugar and butter. Now to make the custard into which these bread slices are soaked, we'll need the base of the soya vanilla milk, into which goes cornstarch, some mashed banana, a bunch of spice powders, starting with cinnamon powder, 2 cloves that are ground, ginger powder, and some salt, and some regular sugar. So we're going to begin by caramelizing the pears. We start by coring the pears. If you don't have this contraption, you could always just quarter the pears. So now that we have cored and sliced our pears, let's start the caramelizing process. We begin by heating some butter and some brown sugar. The smell of sugar melting, especially when there's butter involved, is something else. So now that this has melted, add all the pear slices so it brings the heat down. So we lay the slices on like this. Look at that. Doesn't it look beautiful? So cover the pears and cook them on medium-low heat. Now, while the pears caramelize, we're going to make a slurry of the cornstarch and the soya vanilla flavored drink. Whisk it in. We want to avoid all clumps. So whisk. Now we're going to make the custardy base. Let's take 1 tablespoon of mashed banana. We're going to take cinnamon powder, dry ginger, cloves that have been ground, and salt. Then there's sugar, of course. And you might want to make sure the bananas are really finely mashed. And now we're going to go in with the cornstarch slurry. Give everything a good mix. Let's check on our caramelized pears. Look at that. They look lovely. They smell even better. So yeah, our pears look almost done. The sauce, this caramel sauce is looking incredibly rich and sticky. It's going to pour beautifully over the French toast. So in the interest of saving resources and effort, we're just going to make the French toast in the same pan. Add some butter into the pan. Lots of butter would be good because it's French toast. It's something you want to eat and feel like a treat. Then we have bread. Now, the bread has to be stale. As I said earlier, this recipe probably came about because, people didn't want to waste bread. But now it's almost like you need to plan to have stale bread if you want to eat French toast. The bread needs to be stale because the drier it is, the better it absorbs this custardy mix. Now we're going to go in and dunk the bread ever so lightly. We don't want it to be soaking. Just make sure there are no dry patches. The pan is warm, the butter is bubbling, and you should hear a sizzle when it hits the surface of the pan. Hear that sizzle? The first one went in when the pan was not as hot as it should have been. It'll still be fine, just as good, but that sizzle is what you're looking for. Look at the texture on that. Now it's time to plate up our plant-based French toast. Let's take some of our beautifully caramelized pears. And we'll sprinkle some cinnamon on top. Going in with my fork and spoon. Obviously, I'm going to say it's perfect. But when you try it, you'll see why. The first thing you notice of textures and temperatures, which I think is always delightful. The temperature contrast, because you have this warm toast, which is sitting under this, ice cream that is just like slowly starting beautifully melting. You have the pears that still retain a little bit of heat, beautifully caramelized, the syrup that is being soaked by the bread. So it's crispy, it's soft, it's creamy. I don't like to use the word it's a party in your mouth. I find it not so nice, but this really is that. There's a lot happening on. It's all delicious. And it's plant-based, believe it or not. Keep watching The Early Cook House, and I'll be back with another fun, innovative plant-based recipe that doesn't feel like a compromise. Ciao.